Hello and welcome back to Sadie Makes, or hello if this is your first time. I'm Sadie, and today I'm going to be starting a Christmas sweater, and it is very late in the game to do so, so hopefully I can get it done before Christmas, but most likely it's not going to happen. We're going to start today by making granny squares. So I want to create like a granny square sweater. I've made 2 or 3 cardigans and only one sweater that I have already like frogged because it just was not fitting right. So let me see. And if things are going crazy over here, that's my cat. Hey, she wants to be on screen too. So I've been thinking of doing this mistletoe granny square, I'll add it somewhere, across the bust and around the back. And then I've been kind of back and forth if I want to do just like double crochets, hey, or granny clusters of double crochets to create stripes. I really like this one here where it's the red, white, light green, dark green. I think that one is super cute. Or even this one where they're doing the light green instead of the dark green. But this one's granny clusters. This one would be granny clusters. I like this one a lot. I like how it's like the two, so it kind of zigzags. Maybe something like that. Instead of just the one. And then the one with Dua Lipa, I also like. There's good shaping on the shoulders. I like the bigger stripes. Um, so we'll kind of revisit the stripe part, and I'm just going to do the granny squares today. And I also wanted to talk about like how I got into crochet and like crafting in general and kind of see where that takes us. It's mostly going to be like chatty. I'm not going to finish these today. I'm probably just going to do the center section. So let's hop into that. This mistletoe granny square has a YouTube tutorial, so I am going to watch that. I've got a big bag of yarn and a LaCroix, so get yourself something comfy on, get a drink, come along while we're making granny squares. So one thing to note when you're creating granny squares, the best way to do it is by doing all of one color and then on all of them and then the next row and then the next row. So I am going to be starting with this big twist value yarn. It is 100% acrylic in the color ivory because the center, you'll see on the screen, is that white color. So this is going to be white for all of the white details on the sweater. And the hook size is a 5mm. So I believe to grab, and I'm pretty sure all of the colors. So this is my red, gonna be the red for the sweater. This is like a pound of love, I believe. And then I found this just in my stash. This is gonna be a light green. This one is Craft Smart Value Yarn Color Sage. Also acrylic. These are all acrylic. And then I've got a bunch of these for the green. So we're going to see how this works. This may or may not make the cut, but for sure we're going to start with these colors. The last one is Loops and Threads Impeccable Acrylic. I like Impeccable Acrylic quite a bit. I do use it. Kelly Green. And I had a hard time finding Christmas colors at the store. I've like only got a Michael's near me, so it's been difficult. Okay, we got our color. This is all my little notions, my compression gloves. I've dealt with a lot of hand pain in my crochet journey, and it kind of gets better and worse and better and worse. So I try and always wear these. Even though they kind of feel weird at first, it does help with that pain and arthritic symptoms I get. You will need little snips, always needed. I've always got a measuring tape in here. We will probably use this to see how big the granny squares get. I'm thinking 4 in the front, 4 in the back. Maybe 5, 6, because, way across. But what we'll do is we'll measure them, measure around, and that will tell us how many we want to make. So I've got little cute tags I put on all the things. These are the little brackets that hold them on there. And then stitch markers, tapestry needles, my 5mm hook. These help if you need help counting. Great for amigurumi. More stitch markers in here. So first we're just going to start with the gloves, the hook, and the yarn. Yarn through the loop that we already had on our hook, like this. So how two remaining loops, and then yarn over again for the second time and pull through remaining. All right, so I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing now. Just 12 double crochets and a chain one. How I got into crochet. So I started crocheting 2022, I believe, and I had really gotten into it because I was kind of looking for something to do in the evenings as it was getting colder outside. I started in, I want to say, like October-ish. I kind of get like seasonal affected disorder because it gets dark and I like get stuck inside, even though I live in a very sunny area. I work a full-time job and am inside most of the day, and then at night you don't really want to go out, so you kind of feel this just more sad. And so I was looking for something that I could do inside, just sitting down, relatively cheap. I had tried sewing in the past and had gotten rid of my sewing machine. I had gotten one in high school on a Black Friday, and I just couldn't afford it back then as a kid. Like, I just didn't have money to spend on hobbies, really. And so I never could really get into it because YouTube wasn't as much of a thing. Like, it was, but it was like way slower, less videos out there. And really, the big thing was it was just expensive. Getting a stash of good fabric is expensive. Like, even now, luckily, like, that's what I just like to spend my money on. I was looking for something that wasn't sewing. I had also tried drawing in the past and tried like opening an Etsy shop. I was really, during 2020, I was trying to work on illustrating because I had loved to do that as a kid. I was really into like cartoon drawings, not really as much as like still life drawings. So I thought that illustration would be super fun to get into, especially with all the extra time that we had because of the lockdown and being stuck inside. But it just, having to like sit down and like, it was just like a lot of thinking. It's not much of a flow state when you're drawing. There's like lots and lots and lots of thinking, and I wanted something where I could get in a flow state, just kind of be able to sit on my couch, sit on my bed, and relax while I'm doing it because I already work during the day. After illustrating wasn't really connecting with me, and like, it wasn't like a habit that I had made in any way, and it wasn't fitting into my lifestyle very well. So I had took some time off of that and decided, what happened was I was seeing it, I think, a lot on social media um, different drawings and whatnot, or not drawings. I had started to see on social media lots of knit and crochet. I love Pinterest, so I was noticing a lot in fashion and Pinterest stuff, crochet, and I was like, I can do that. So I set a goal to learn that and was just using YouTube videos. I got a couple of hooks and some yarn at Michael's and started just by making beanies. That was it. Not like a bunch of different things, but just a few beanies. And I made beanies for all of my family members that first year, and it was really fun. I made a bunch of mistakes, specifically on my dad's beanie. It was massive and it was green. So it kind of looked like the peanut guy's head, but it was green. So it kind of looked like a big pickle on the top of his head. It was atrocious, but I never fixed it. I finished it last minute because I was making a bunch of them, and yeah, it's still around. I think he still has it. That's how you know he loves you. He just keeps the terrible beanie. Maybe one day I'll fix it. I don't live near them, so maybe I'll just fix it one of these days when I'm home. Maybe around Christmas time. After beanie season, I felt like I really had a grasp on it and started making other things. I really love the granny motif, like the three clusters of a granny square, granny stripe, literally. Like that's like my go-to. I really like that motif. I think it's really cute. It's easy to do, and so I started just finding tutorials, free tutorials, buying inexpensive yarn, and just started to grow my skills from there. I noticed it was working with my lifestyle. I felt like it was really relaxing. In the evenings, I was able just to unwind. I also feel like I really like crochet because I am really interested in fashion and personal style. Not necessarily like the high fashion. Like I do understand. I've seen The Devil Wears Prada. I get that things trickle down and we're inspired by that and I do look for that, but I wouldn't say that's always my sole inspiration for fashion and personal style. I think there are other things like food, travel, art that can have influence, culture. Things do influence the fashion industry other than just the fashion industry. But that's something I've always been really into. Like, I used to love Project Runway. I had watched pretty much every season. Love that show. Wish I could have been on it. Like, I would still probably try and get on it if I was old. I loved watching like people doing like a second act, of their life. It's hard to explain, but like you can always reinvent yourself. You never have to be stale and just be this one person that you were in your 20s. You can always try something new, reach your goals, push for your dreams. Like just cuz I get older, I don't feel like, well, can't change anything anymore. I think I'll be an old person who is quite eccentric and always doing weird things. But yeah, like I in my lifetime, I could see myself doing that for fun. I definitely need to work on my sewing skills. That is something I like doing it and I've definitely improved, but it's just takes more effort than crochet does for me. Crochet is very meditative, very flow state, very relaxing, whereas sewing is way more difficult. You're fighting with your machine and your bobbin half the time, and just like learning the machine, I would say, is a skill of its own. I like that crochet. I can sit on my couch and I can make a sweater, or I could make a dress, or I can make shorts, or I can make a bag. Like, you're literally creating the fabric that you're working with, and you can put it together in a bunch of different ways. You're not limited. And my kitty's about to join. Oh, hi, buddy. That's how I started, and I've kept going with it ever since. I use Pinterest a lot. That's why one of the videos I'd like to show is like the planning process of like projects, because I feel like that's what gets me hyped to make things. I'm on Pinterest. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. Ooh, that's cool. And I kind of find inspiration. And those are the things I'm like, I want that for myself, but I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to go to H&M and spend 20 bucks on a sweater when I can make one for 100 out of acrylic. That's a joke. Anyways. So unfortunately, my microphone died, and so a lot of footage was missed. So not a lot, but a good amount. I'm going to probably make 10 of them. For me, I feel like lots of motivation comes from creating in different arenas. So cooking, crochet, sewing, playing video games, like the ways that I can create in different ways and create in different areas in my life really give me a lot of inspiration. I don't know, just makes me want to try something new and learn a new skill, and I think those things like build upon each other. Obviously, friends and family are a big motivator. I've got a great support system, great friends, great family, and everyone seems to, push me and push me to be better and create more. I wouldn't say like like pushing, like I don't get too much critiques about my art from family. Honestly, like since I went to school for design, I'm pretty used to getting critiqued about art, and I don't feel very offended by it. And being a graphic designer by day, you hear a lot of feedback from clients. So like if someone doesn't like something, like that's fine and it's easy to change. So don't get really offended by critiques. I'm pretty open to it as long as it's like a critique and not just criticism. That was a tangent. I have a couple friends that do the market in town, and I would love to, and maybe at some point I will. I just don't really have inventory. I use most of my stuff. I give it away. So maybe as I continue to make pieces that, maybe aren't for myself or others that commission them, that I'll start doing that too. But like it really inspires me and really motivates me. I'm really inspired and motivated by other female creators because I feel like when I grew up there wasn't as many women in entrepreneurial positions, and it wasn't the women driving the art culture as much. And so it's really cool to see that actually happening. Like I feel like at least half the booths at the farmers market I went today, that's why it's on my mind, but I feel like at least half of them have women running them, or multiple women, and it really does like motivate me. That could be me, and I see myself in them, and I feel like when I see others around me, that really pushes me to pursue. I'm like, okay, they're making, I just want to also make, also add to that conversation of makers and to add to it. So I have 10 of these started, so I'll start the new row next. But I have spent a lot of time talking to myself and it not always recording. Thanks again. I really appreciate you being here. It does mean a lot. I'll see you next time.